It took 2 weeks, but now the season-ending Dick Weber PBA playoffs is down to its final 6. The Cinderella story, Randy Weiss. The feel-good veteran charges of Jack Jurek and Steve Jarris. The exuberance of Dick Allen. And the tournament favorites, #1 seeds Chris Barnes and Jason Belmonte have all moved on. Today, 3 more advance and 3 move out at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. Welcome you to the 3rd of 4 consecutive weekends of PBA playoff coverage. The Dick Weber PBA playoff field has gone from 156 to 6. Today, 3 more get sent packing. Glad you're with us this Sunday. Rob Stone, PBA Hall of Famer Randy Peterson with you. The theme from week 1, upsets. Last weekend's theme, #1 seeds moving on as both Jason Belmonte and Chris Barnes advanced to today's show. The theme for this Sunday, TBD. We do know one thing, a major format change, Randy.
Completely different now. We're going from 3-player matches to head-to-head competition. Today, 3 players will punch their ticket to the finals. Let's take a look at our brackets. Steve Jarris will take on Randy Weiss in our first match, followed by Dick Allen and Jack Jurek. And in our last match, in my opinion, our most intriguing matchup of the day, it'll be Raw Power meets Maple Moxie when Jason Belmonte meets Chris Barnes.
Here is Belmo last weekend. Strong finish to take care of Dino Castillo and Brad Angelo. Then Chris Barnes sealing the 6th and final spot in our round of 6.
Yeah, a very business-like type of game for Chris Barnes. No open frames and a very clean 217 game.
Time now for the introductions for match #1.
A 7-time winner on the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour with 1 major title, Steve Jarris.
Jarris, the East Regional winner, took down Scott Norton and Tom Smallwood with a 258. 1 pin more than Smallwood. Jarris versus Weiss. First ball. First strike.
Yeah, and just like we saw him in his winning match, going nice and straight early.
A former exempt player with 8 PBA regional titles and 4 career PBA Tour top 10 finishes, Randy Weiss.
South Carolina native, resides in Columbia right now. Your South Region winner. Had a 239, 1 more than Tommy Jones. Also took care of Ryan Schaefer in that 3-man South Region Championship match. Goes Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was just a big elbowed shot, and anytime you do that, the ball is almost always going to go left. Watch this. Watch the follow-through go pretty straight, but you see the hand turns early, and that's the old chicken wing. Rob, chicken wing.
I was hungry. That's why I got distracted when you said that. Weiss curls that one in for the spare.
All right, slow down. Make a shot, buddy. Make a shot.
Here's Randy's arsenal for today's show.
Going with Anarchy, the strongest ball that he's brought to the championship pair of lanes. Got a unique roll and a unique style, Rob, in that he kind of shoves it through the front part of the lane, but the roll is kind of an end-over-end heavy roll.
Said his ball always seems to roll earlier than the other competitors.
All right.
Seeing that time there, he just showed you that heavy end-over-end roll where that ball actually rolled out and stopped before it completely got to the 1-3 pocket. watch this. You see the hand underneath. There's that kind of end over end roll, and then you see how it starts to go left and then it quits.
Right off, man. Right off.
Back-to-back 9 spares for Weiss as he gives way to Steve Jarrus, 7-time tour titleist on the Lumber Liquidator PBA Tour. His first telecast of the season began rather 2 weeks ago when he won the East. The back-to-back opening jacks for Jarrus, the native of Yorkville, Illinois. His wife, June, here. And the lead at 11 as we check in on Jarrus's arsenal. Today going with the Marvel.
I don't need to tell you that that's a really strong hook rating.
It's hard to go higher than 10.
Exactly.
According to my sources.
Liked it.
Shot.
Just tipped
Good
up
shot.
a pinch high on him, leaving a 4-pin. But, you know, just like in his match, when he bowled against Scott Norton and Tom Smallwood, edging out Smallwood by a pin, he looked loose then. He looks nice and relaxed now. Looks like he's in his comfort zone, and he's able to play the lanes the way he likes to play them. Nice and direct.
It's a very pleasant stroke as well. The follow-through extended up high. None of it looks forced. None of it looks overbearing.
But don't kid yourself. If he had to move in and hook it, he can do that as well. Again, we talk about it on a weekly basis. Being versatile out here is a must.
Some shots.
Randy Weiss, best finish this year, was 60th at the Pepsi Viper Championship. Way right of target.
Quit fighting it, dude.
Quit fighting it, dude, is what Randy's saying to himself.
See that follow through go dead left. Lost it at the bottom of the swing and tried to save it, but the swing direction in the downswing was telling that bowling ball to go right. His mind was like, no, don't throw it to the right. And so you see that follow through as an overcompensation. Look out. Well, right now, Randy is all over the place and obviously not very comfortable.
Again, a non-exempt player, Randy Weiss. Not a lot of TV experience. This is just his second weekend ever on television. Makes a ball change. Good change. And a good time for it. So many times, Randy, we see guys make changes in the 6th, 7th, or 8th frame where it's already too late. And there, Weiss, knowing he needs a win to move on, makes a change in the 4th, and it pays off.
Well, Rob, the hardest thing about bowling head-to-head competition in a one-game match on television is not being indecisive. You get practice prior to going on the air, and you must decide what ball and what line and be confident with it.
Another strike for Jarrus. You saw that graphic. You see lined up that shot, making at least one TV appearance per season for 20 consecutive seasons. We asked him about that the other day, and he said, yeah, it's a pretty cool stat. You know, shows my consistency year to year. And he pulls it off in the last tournament of the season as his wife, June, and kids had a front row seat as Dad is in control early in the conference championship round versus Randy Weiss. Strike number 4 for Jarrus.
Well, there were no buys for either of these two players, and Steve Jarrus, like Randy Weiss, had the bowl through each and every round to get to this position. Right now, Steve Jarrus has got a beautiful blueprint of the oil pattern and what the lanes are giving him and allowing him to do. And right now, he's performing flawlessly.
Up 35, Weiss to close out the 5th. Back-to-back jacks after that ball change for Randy Weiss.
And Rob, you know, I said you got to make a decision on how you're going to play the lanes and be committed to it. But if it doesn't work, You got to abandon ship and go directly to something else, and that's exactly what Randy Weiss did in the 4th frame, and it paid off. There's a double.
So a nice recovery by Weiss after that open frame in the 3rd. He had the 1-2-8 and just clipped the 2-pin. Strike, strike. Since then, we begin the 6th.
Late.
10 will drop. A big break late for Weiss. Could have been a nasty split opportunity. Instead becomes a manageable spare shot.
Very unusual approach as he looks down at the floor, and then about halfway through his approach, he picks his eyes up to focus on a target down the lane. But you're right. I mean, this is a nice break in that he doesn't leave a split, but he really needed a strike there.
Able to clean that one up, but it's Steve Jarris in control. Your East Region winner, closing in on a berth in the final 3 here at the PBA Dick Weber playoffs. Match number 1's conclusion when we return to Indianapolis. The Dick Weber PBA playoffs are brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By the makers of One A Day Men's 50+ Advantage, the multivitamin with more of what matters. By Barbazol. Start your day with Barbazol shaving cream, America's leader for a close, comfortable shave. And by Lumber Liquidators. Go to lumberliquidators.com for a list of our new store openings. Welcome back to Woodland Bowl and ESPN's continuing coverage of the Dick Weber PBA playoffs. Time now for our weekly installment of the Lumber Liquidators Know the Wood.
The 39-foot Dick Weber oil pattern was designed to maximize creativity. This oil pattern also lends itself to multiple angles because there's a little more oil in the middle part of the lane, and it's a relatively short oil pattern. But most importantly, this pattern allows the bowlers to play to their strengths.
What are the strengths of Steve Jarris' game, Randy?
You're looking at it. Nice and straight, keeping his target in front of him, taking his hand out of it. Nice, soft touch at the bottom of the swing, and allowing the oil pattern to take the ball to the pocket. See his hand on the side there, wrist broken back. That's a weak, soft release indicator.
Get around it, get around it. Oh, no. Are you kidding?
7-10.
Oh, jeez.
Well, we have seen a lot of 7-10s through the course of our PBA playoff coverage here.
Oh, I've seen a few of these today.
Randy Weiss got choice of starting lanes via a coin toss, so he wanted Jarris to start the match, which made Jarris the first player to bowl out of the break. Now, Jarris did throw a really good shot there. That's just a bad break. A lot of times we see guys come out of the commercial break and go right through the nose and leave big splits,
All right,
but
wasn't bad.
not the case for Jarris. Unfortunately, it's an open frame.
First open frame of this match for Jarris. Weiss had one in the 3rd. Back on the strike train.
Going like that. Going like that.
Jarris was 9th at the U.S. Open. Was actually disappointed
Just make them like that.
in that finish. Season-wise, feels like he bowled well, particularly in the second half of the campaign. Again, this is the final event of this PBA season. Weiss working off a spare in the 7th.
Carry one.
Leaves the 10.
And that's the only downside when you're trying to throw a straighter shot with less revolutions and less power is the weak 10. If you don't get your ball to hit hard enough, you're going to leave a soft 10 every time, unless you have really good angles.
Spare number 4 for Weiss. Coming up after this match, Dick Allen and Jack Jurek square off. And then our final match today, Jason Belmonte and Chris Barnes, 2 #1 seeds battling as you take a look at some of the other finishers here at the Dick Weber PBA playoffs.
That's a sign of a man whose hands are tied behind his back trying to throw the bowling ball forward. Very unsure of his ball reaction. He's afraid to let it go to the right too far. Pinches it at the bottom of the swing ball, goes hooks early and goes Brooklyn.
Third strike for Weiss. Jaros has 5 thus far and working off of 1 in the 8th.
There, gosh.
And just when it seemed like this was going to be a rout, we're going to have a 1 or 2 pin match after he shoots the 2-8-10.
Man, this right lane suddenly causing Jaros a lot of issues.
And he has, excuse me, he has to finish the 10th frame on that lane. And obviously the right lane being an issue the last couple of times up. But Steve Jaros, what's going on with that right lane?
Well, I saw it just kind of carrying down a little bit. The shot on out of the commercial break with the 710 wasn't that bad. Ball hung up just a little bit, and tried to make sure I got really clean through the bottom. I just accelerated too quick.
Thanks, Steve.
So Steve at 153 through 8. We begin the foundation frame 9th.
Hit it now.
Thank you.
Trouble.
The 10 pin.
Trouble, Robbie. He spares here. The best he can shoot if he strikes out is 203. Randy Weiss can strike out 9th and 10th and shoot 221.
Let's also remember, though, Randy Weiss is a little bit lost. He's in a good position score-wise.
Sure.
But on the lanes, not so much.
Yeah,
he did strike in the 8th, but that was Brooklyn.
Without question. But after 5 frames, like I said earlier, this had the makings of a rout. And right now it's a 2-pin match. Randy Weiss can take the lead with a strike here in the 9th frame.
Both of these guys know about tight matches. They both won the regional championship matches by 1 pin.
And remember how Randy Weiss did it. He struck out all 3 in the 10th to do that.
Bottom of the 9th.
Carry 1.
Oh, my.
Are you kidding me, 8-pin?
It's a great shot, buddy.
Audacious.
That was a good shot.
The shot of his bowling career,
Good.
trying to punch his ticket to the finals. He pures it to leave a stone 8. That's like getting punched repeatedly in the gut.
Key now, though, is getting that focus back and taking care of the single pin spare. And then doing the math.
Well, Rob, here's the deal. No matter what Randy Weiss does now in the 10th frame, he cannot shut out Steve Jaros because of that solid 8-pin. But you know what? If you want to take a step back and maybe look at a little poetic justice, the strike that he threw in the 8th frame was Brooklyn.
And he's back on that left lane here in the 10th. Got it!
Last 2 shots,
Good shot.
spectacular. Now, does he have it in him? Remember, once again, he struck out in the 10th frame to beat Tommy Jones by 1 pin to get here today. How much does this man have left? Only his 2nd time ever on television. Watch those eyes.
Closed, opened, focused, release.
Look out.
And a little
Not very good.
baby split with a 310.
If he converts, he shoots 191. Steve Jarris can go 9 spare strike in the 10th frame and win by 1. If Steve Jarris fills 20 in the 10th, it's over.
Got it.
That's big. That extra pin is big. If Steve Jarris gets less than 7 on his first ball, he loses. Remember the last time up on this lane, he got 7. 7-2, 2-8-10. Look out.
No way.
Gets 8 but leaves a split.
Has to make this and then strike on the fill shot. He has to slide the 4 into the 10. And I promise you, that pull, that little tug, was a direct result of what happened in the 8th frame when he went light.
Weiss, the non-exempt bowler, your complete Cinderella story of this Dick Weber PBA playoffs is this much closer to taking a step to the final 3 in next week's live broadcast. Jarris must convert this.
Great try.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And Weiss lives to bowl again. 191. 179.
Andrew, love you, buddy.
And Randy comes by to sign the bracket. An improbable victory over Steve Jarris. How many people had him in their brackets?
Wow. Man,
Not many. And here's Randy with Randy.
Wow, talk about some up and down roller coaster emotions going on in that match. What were you thinking when Steve Jarris got up in the 10th frame?
I figured he's a great player. He's going to put it there. It was just a matter of whether or not they were going to fall.
Well, this is only your second time on television. Did you ever expect yourself to get this far?
I never expected it, but I'm always hoping every time I put my shoes on.
You punched your ticket to the finals. How does it feel?
And it is a feeling I will never be able to describe with words.
Thanks, Randy.
You can hear it in his voice just how happy he is. Yeah, let it out, Randy. Smile, man. Show those teeth, buddy. You are on to the championship round next Sunday. Up next, who will join him? Will be that man, new dad, Dick Allen. Another South Carolina native with a ripper, Jack Jurek. Find out Central versus Midwest when we return.